So you have a video game idea for me. Yes sir, I do. The idea I have is for Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. That sounds exciting, tell me more. The game's going to start out with a bunch of news clips about chaos and anarchy in the streets, which seems to have been caused by a viral outbreak. It's only 2019, there's no way that could parallel real life events when we release the game in 2020. No way at all, we're safe for the time being. What? I didn't say anything. It just sounds like you know something's going to happen in 2020. No way, 2020 is going to be a good year. What can go wrong? Okay, so how's the story going to be different for the remake? The game's going to start out in Jill's apartment, which the player then explores. And when the player gets to the bathroom, Jill sees herself as a zombie in the mirror. At that point, she pulls a gun and shoots herself. And then Jill wakes up. I like that. They won't know that it's actually a nightmare caused by the mansion incident, so it'll completely surprise the player. Nope, the color's going to be muted, giving away the fact that it's a nightmare almost immediately. But wouldn't it be better if they couldn't tell right from the beginning that's a nightmare? It would, but it's more obvious if you do it this way. That's okay then. So after Jill wakes up from the nightmare, she then gets a phone call from Brad warning her about Nemesis, who is coming to kill her. But wouldn't Nemesis kill Brad immediately on sight with him being so big and powerful and all? I guess not. So right after Jill gets off the phone with Brad, Nemesis shows up almost immediately as Jill tries to leave her apartment. That sounds exciting. What happens to Jill? He then picks Jill up off the ground, she shoots him in the face a few times, and the Nemesis throws her on the ground. But couldn't Nemesis just kill Jill instantly, being so big and powerful and all? I don't know. Beats me. Okay. So what does Nemesis look like in this remake? You're going to love this. Nemesis is going to start out, essentially, dressed in a garbage bag. But wouldn't that make Nemesis look like literal trash? We could just say the bags are shipping material. That's okay then. So anyways, after Jill leaves her apartment, she encounters Brad almost immediately on the streets. They then take shelter inside Jay's bar. So Brad was right around the corner? Convenient, I know. So at this point, Brad and Jill take shelter in Jay's bar to get away from the zombies, and Brad tries to build a barricade. Does Brad die? Almost immediately afterwards, but this time we're going to have Brad sacrifice himself so Jill can escape and survive Resident Evil 3. Where did Nemesis go? Shouldn't he be right on the trail? I guess he forgot. And then what happens? Jill then sneaks out the back door, grabs a dead cop's gun, and then she crawls through some wreckage, and then she finds herself in the parking garage where we meet Dario for the first time. What's Dario going to be like? This time around, rather than be a grieving father, Dario is going to be an extremely paranoid survivalist who distrusts Jill immediately, and he immediately calls her Missy. That kind of makes him a sexist douchebag. Does he at least redeem himself when we see him later in the game? We never see him again. He has literally no character development whatsoever. That's okay then. So what happens afterwards? So after Jill leaves Dario behind, she finds herself up on the roof of a parking garage where she encounters Nemesis again. That sounds exciting, the first boss fight. I guess better ever use Ethan's car. She knocks Nemesis off the roof and they both plummet a few stories to the ground. Ethan's car from Resident Evil 7? Isn't that just lazily reusing old assets? No, it is, but we only have a year to make this game, so we gotta hurry up. That's a good point about time now. If Jill was in a car that plummeted multiple stories to the ground, wouldn't an impact like that at the very least impact her spine? Because I used to be an EMT and I know for a fact that if you were to be in a collision like that, it would at least impact your spine, if not kill you outright. So after the crash that Jill survives, we then get to meet Carlos for the first time. That's great. Then what happens? He yells at Nemesis, and then he shoots him with the rocket launcher, and that temporarily stuns Nemesis. But don't rockets kill the tyrants in one hit, and always have? We're killing Nemesis off at the beginning? Nope, it's just going to stun him this time. That's okay then. This is the remake, so I guess we can throw the rules out the window. Now after Jill and Carlos meet, he tells her about their plan to get subways up and running again so they can evac the survivors out of the town. Wasn't it a cable car in the original? To make the game more modern, I decided to make it a subway car instead of a cable car. So anyways, they then send Jill to the control room that the car is up and running again, but first she has to go to the power substation to restore power to the main control room. And what enemies await her there? There's going to be an enemy there that infects Jill with a parasite, which she then has to use a green herb to get rid of. But why would a green herb force a parasite out of its host? Because why not? Alrighty then. So after Jill restores power to the trains, she goes up to the main subway's control room. And is there going to be a puzzle that the player has to solve? Yeah, this is going to be the first puzzle, but we don't want to make it too hard, so we made it embarrassingly easy to solve. Okay, we only have a year to make this game, so we do have to cut out content, like decent puzzles. Exactly right. After she solves the puzzle and gets back to the subway, Nemesis shows up. Doesn't that mean that they're all doomed? I know she used herself as bait to lure Nemesis away, so she eventually climbs up a ladder and finds herself on the roof of a building that's under construction. But as soon as she gets to the top of the ladder, Nemesis immediately grabs her again and throws her on the ground. But wouldn't Nemesis be able to easily kill Jill when he grabs her? Oh no, because Jill survives Resident Evil 3. Oh, that makes sense. Alright, so after the Nemesis fight, Jill finds her way back down to the ground level, right outside the RPD. She then comes across Kendo's gun shop, and he then gives her a key to proceed with the rest of the game. Oh, Kendo's in this one. Do we find out how his family got infected? Nope, so after Jill leaves Kendo's, she immediately runs into Nemesis again, but this time he has a rocket launcher. But how did Nemesis get up so fast and get a rocket launcher? Oh, that's because of the plot. Oh, that's good enough. So at this point, wouldn't Nemesis be able to kill his target very easily? Oh no, she runs through an alley where she's caught by Nemesis again at the top of some stairs, right in front of the Uncle Toy store. How did Nemesis get up there? No, he jumped because that's a thing he can apparently do. But how is he able to do that? Is he the size of a small car? Because video game logic. That's why he can jump so high. So Nemesis at this point shoots a rocket at the giant statue on top of the Toy Uncle store. It falls down and starts rolling after Jill like that boulder from the movies. Oh no, what does Jill do after that? Oh, she starts running in the opposite direction down the stairs. But couldn't she just jump over the railings and be safe? Yeah, she could, but she's not going to do that. Why not? Didn't you hear her rolling like the boulder from the movies? It'll be just like that, but it would make more sense for her to jump out of the way. Okay, so after the rolling boulder scene, I mean the rolling statue scene, Jill finds her way back to the subway station where she is ambushed by Nemesis again. Oh, does Jill lure him away again? No, because they get ambushed in the train car, so Nikolai then locks Jill and Mikhail in the same train car with Nemesis. So Mikhail, in order to keep Nemesis from getting in the way, he then blows up the entire train car, which knocks Jill unconscious. When she wakes up, does she tell everybody that Nikolai is the traitor? Oh, nope, it didn't occur to her. So at this point, we then start playing as Carlos, and he's over at the RPD. Wouldn't it make more sense for Jill to do that, because that was her place of work, and that's how it was in the original. So after Carlos gets to the RPD, he starts looking for a Dr. Nathaniel Bard. Oh, and there is a doctor now? Oh yeah, there is, and Carlos has to rescue him from Star's room. But how does he get into Star's room if there are barricades all over the police station? Oh, so we're going to have Carlos steal some C4, and then he blows up a wall in the shower room. He then walks down the hallway right outside Star's room, but when he gets to Star's room, he finds out that the doctor is not even there anymore. He's actually at the hospital. And at this point, we start playing as Jill again, who has her second fight with Nemesis. Oh, that's great. Do we get to see the clock tower? Oh, we're cutting that. It's only going to be in the background now. So after Jill defeats Nemesis again, she ends up being infected this time. And then Carlos comes along and finds her. But how does he find her if he has no idea she was there? Oh, so she can survive the game. So after Carlos and Jill get to the hospital, Carlos then goes looking for Dr. Bard, only to find that he's been shot in the head by an unknown assailant. So Carlos then looks at the vaccine. After he finds it, he's able to give it to Jill, who then starts having nightmares about being in the hospital. But how could she have any nightmares about the hospital if she was knocked unconscious before being brought to the hospital, and can't possibly have any idea she was in a hospital? She just does. But before she recovers, Carlos has to defend the lobby right outside her room because zombies and hunters, they're trying to break in. But wouldn't that just be like that cabin scene in Resident Evil 4? Yeah, it's your point. So after Jill wakes up, we play as her again. She then explores the hospital, and she finds her way to the Nest 2 facility, which is in no way going to be at all reused assets from Resident Evil 2 Remake. So she fights Nemesis, she then finds and creates a vaccine. Oh, this is going to be the second puzzle in the game? Yes, this will be the second puzzle in the game, but it's also going to be the last puzzle. But it too is going to be so easy, it insults the player's intelligence. And so at this point, once she gets the vaccine, she ends up being ambushed by Nikolai, and she finds herself hanging off a ledge. She still hasn't told anyone that Nikolai is the bad guy? Yeah, nope, it never occurs to her. So at this point, because Nikolai took the vaccine from her, she's forced to fight Nemesis again. So after she beats Nemesis, she then explores the rest of the Nest 2 facility, which is not going to be a knockoff of Resident Evil 2 at all. But if you do try to change it just enough so it doesn't look blatantly obvious that we're reusing old assets. And as she's trying to escape the Nest 2 facility, she encounters Nemesis again after he kills Tyrell. And so Jill fights him one last time before she finally puts him down. And in order to put him down, she uses a railgun to kill him. Oh, now all of a sudden there's a railgun? Oh yeah, there's going to be a railgun. See, while Umbrella was working on world-ending viruses, they also had the spare time to make a railgun. Oh, sure, never should have questioned that. What happens when Jill gets outside the facility? Oh, she then sees Carlos on the ground, and the Nikolai comes out of nowhere, even though she should have been able to see him easily, being such an open area and all. So the Nikolai taunts Jill by shooting the vaccine that he took from her. And so at this point, Carlos gets up, and the two struggle until Jill finally shoots Nikolai. Well, good to hear they finally kill Nikolai when they realize he's the bad guy. I know, but only just wounds him. So they end up leaving Nikolai behind after he tries to plead with them. So he gets killed by the nuke. Now during the credits, we're going to have a big credit scene that's going to have players debating what it means. Okay, this all sounds like it's going to be a really short game. I know we're going to bundle it with Project Resistance, but what are we going to do for DLC? Oh, there's going to be no DLC. Deal with it.